Hello and welcome back to my channel. The topic that I wanted to talk about today has actually changed quite a lot as I was researching it further. There was this thought at the back of my mind that recently we saw quite the influx of people just kind of shit talking their audience. I was wondering what was that all about, considering that it tends to pop up on my YouTube feed, it tends to pop up on the news from time to time. So I thought, hey, let me just investigate if this is like a recent trend and, kind of what is happening. And when I started doing that, it struck me that it's people being human. We might have put game developers on a pedestal like they are rock stars. For example, when it is more of an equivalent of a Walmart worker. So, you see, Walmart would have like an official account and it would release Walmart statements. And then Betsy Bob working at the till would have a personal account, but whenever she would make statements, it wouldn't reflect on Walmart because Betsy Bob is not seen as a representative of Walmart. She is seen as a cashier. It seems that it's a bit different if you go into either social media where you host a channel on YouTube or Twitch or TikTok or whatever for yourself, or if you go into a career like game dev, where if you are in any way front facing, like your account is tied to the game that you made in any way and you're engaging in a discussion about that, you should actually be acting closer to how you would expect like a royal or a superstar or a politician to be acting, which is you should be thinking very carefully through your statements. And I think what happened is that these people, they don't perceive themselves that way, but the rest of the people do. And that's where the whole weirdness comes out. They're acting like people. They're not acting like a company. They're not acting like a celebrity. They're acting like your average citizen, probably because they're also paid like your average citizen and treated like your average citizen. And I suppose this is kind of a call to us to also think of the way that we engage in social media, because really the expectation here being placed on a person is that they're going to engage in social media as if they're being watched all the time by 1,000 eyes, and like every single thing that they say will influence whether their product will sink or swim, whether they will be able to get further employment, whether, they're gonna be able to work on any further projects, when in reality, they're more like, once again, Walmart workers. These people are probably not paid all that well, and they're probably not seeing themselves as anything special. So a lot of outrage honestly gets overblown, but at the same time, there is a bit of a discussion to be had whether what we need is for people that go into game dev to also learn PR and to understand that their accounts represent their product and also represent the company that they work for. Whether we all should be a bit more reserved when we post on social media in general and think of honestly what we're saying and whether what we're saying would make us employable or not, and how any one of the thousand eyes that are currently staring directly at you could react at any time, or whether we just accept that all people are people and accountability's off. We just treat everybody like average Joes and realize that, they probably are, and therefore when you get involved in an argument with a game dev, it's a bit like getting involved into an argument of a random Reddit user, a bunch of numbers that just results in no you, no you, no you, no you sort of line of thinking, or whether should we all just delete our social media accounts altogether. That is also entirely an option. I don't actually know what the right solution in here is. I'm not here to tell you how to act or how to tell other people to act or what should the official rules be. Would it maybe be better if game developers were more anonymous and didn't have the tag of, works at such and such places, such and such, and doesn't talk about their work openly and publicly, and all of that is left to a PR account? That's also a possible solution to this whole kerfuffle. Yeah, I don't actually know solutions. I just found it kind of delightful to find regular people where I guess I did not expect to find them. But let's read through some controversies of game developers expressing sentiments that they really shouldn't have in the last year. And let's discuss how reasonable or unreasonable it is. So we have a Concord dev in here, and Concord is a massively failed game that has been shut down. His controversy was that he responded to a guy that was feeling sorry for him for being a Concord developer. And he said that he doesn't really care. It was huge labor from a lot of insanely talented people making an awesome game. Why would I care about a bunch of talentless freaks hating on it? I'm sure having fun playing it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. He did later on, started blocking people and started being a bit of a trolley, and in a toy sort of way of saying to people that, hey, if you want me to reveal this tweet on my feed, you gotta pay me $8, which I think he thought it was being funny, but it ended up with quite a bit of backlash. This tweet, for example, was deleted, which means that the person that posted it was I probably shouldn't have said that. Honestly, when it is such a... I feel like I'm gonna upset somebody by saying this, but when it is such a minor thing of somebody in conversation calls the people hating on them from their perspective as talentless freaks, or any kind of wording insert here that's gonna be kind of offensive to the opposite party, I fully believe that it is something that just came out of a conversation and was not actually meant to be picked up by news media circles and wannabe game journalists on YouTube. It honestly entirely feels like the person might have been under a lot of pressure and perhaps wasn't taking feedback very well from users on social media, and somebody at work probably had to be listen, buddy. And that's why the tweet got deleted. But because we have internet these days, these kind of things get preserved and are probably following this person around and haunting them. Honestly, I cannot imagine a worse hell than being big enough to be noticed to such a point, probably will never happen to me, but be noticed to such a point where I have to start limiting my own expression and writing scripts and really investigating in what I say and what I don't say, just in case I let something slip that's like on this level. Like, hey, haters be hating, I'm just here doing my thing, I'm vibing, and my haters are a bunch of, I don't know, legless fat people. I'm not good at making insults, I'm sorry. I can't imagine how bad that must be. And I also can't imagine how bad that must feel when you aren't really a public figure. It hasn't dawned on you. Like, it's not like your social media blew up or something. You were just a game dev and probably got very passionate about your project and then said some really stupid shit. And now that's following you around. I feel like this is the kind of fate that's kind of easy to just run into. And suppose if there is a lesson here, it's to be very careful about what you say online. And that level of carefulness slightly makes me uncomfortable because I feel like we should be able to have casual conversations without turning it into a whole different thing. Now, mind you, some things said are like not that benign. Let's just call it like this. Like, for example, somebody in here went to the Steam page of Concord and had this whole rant, which honestly sounds like where it belonged was when you're really drunk in a pub and you're ranting at your buddy, not in like a workplace setting. So this person wrote a rant of racist bigotry won again. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Does your day feel that little bit better knowing a great developer comprised of hardworking folks is going to likely be shut down over this? All because you can't whack off to ugly character designs and cry about woke games all the time. Get the memo. This game wasn't for you in the first place. Now a decent shooter with fresh ideas in a boring FTP market is going to die. Does that make you happy? You're what's wrong with this industry, and because of you, Sony might see this and think PC isn't worth investing their money into for future games. Hope you're satisfied. Edit. Well, congratulations, the game is shutting down completely. Hope you miserable gamers are happy. I don't actually know if they were developing that game. The person that tweeted that out was saying that this person was part of a like developer team, but these kind of rants, the kind of mentality that you have to be in to write these kind of rants, imagine you just lost your job, imagine you're very stressed, imagine you're thinking that you're about to lose your job and you get really drunk and effectively you drunk text Steam. Now, this is the equivalent of drunk texting your boss. Don't do that. Like, this isn't just a normal person doing normal people things and not thinking about consequences. This is an actual outburst, and I'm pretty sure this wouldn't be okay in any workplace. So if this post haunts them, it's probably with a good reason. Not the nicest way to learn that lesson, I imagine, but once again, if you got fired from Walmart and decided to get really drunk and break the windows of that place, you're probably gonna have trouble finding employment because your previous employer will not want to recommend you. If you got super drunk and drunk texted your boss your genitalia, you're probably getting fired. Like, there is the kind of there's a line of like decent behavior. This is definitely an angry outburst of somebody while being under fairly a lot of stress. I understand it, but I also understand the consequences of these kind of things. Haunting you doesn't really feel like the kind of thing that you do on accident. It's the kind of thing that you do on purpose without probably thinking it through. So, in any workplace, that sort of thing wouldn't fly. Moving on, there was another outrage that a whole bunch of game developers got together and decided to shit talk Elden Ring for some reason. The fact that Elden Ring scored a 97 Metacritic is proof that reviewers don't give a flaming poop about game UX. My life is a lie. Nor PC graphics, stability, and performance, apparently. Nor quest design, really. Now, this is like the equivalent of getting together with your buddies and shit talking another person in your field. Like, for example, if I started going on a rant about popular YouTubers on my YouTube channel, which it is something that some people do. I try not to make inflammatory content. If I am approaching an inflammatory topic, I want to approach it from all sides, and I want to approach it in a polite manner if possible, because honestly, I feel a bit too old for that shit. But these kind of people exist, honestly. And if this conversation was like in some office around like the water cooler, or just like somebody's friends group at the back of the room, like during Game Awards, just elbowing each other, it would have probably been completely fine. But because it's social media, and because all of these people are game developers of some sorts, all it takes is for one person to take a picture for it to be very not fine, because the attitude becomes like, what the heck are you doing? Are you really that much of a negative Nancy? Are you jealous? Like, what is it, mate? What made you have this conversation? But honestly, if it wasn't on social media, we wouldn't have that perception unless it was spoken like really publicly. Like if you climbed on stage during Game Awards and then had that conversation with your buddies very loudly, that would have hiccuped on you. But if it was, friends being friends, shooting the shit somewhere in a bit private, we wouldn't be having this reaction. Therefore, I feel like these kind of discussions should probably move to a private group or a private Discord, and then whoever leaks it is the dishonorable one. Because let me tell you, most people have friends, and most friends, they do speak shit to each other about topics that might be seen as inappropriate if you have to be doing PR for a company and are not just, Betty Bob and Jamie Joe and John Smith that just feel like they're expressing their personal opinion as a person towards their other friends that are also expressing similar opinions to each other as a person. So it's one of those things that the internet exploded about, where I'm like, it's not necessarily explode worthy. Now, this person will probably struggle getting work, and their issue was that they managed to get too attached to a product that's not even theirs. They made some music for a game Mouthwashing, and then decided to call it their game, and had a reaction to specific YouTubers discussing the game Mouthwashing that did not personally align with their, I suppose, political spectrum? The anti-woke crowd has found the game, and I feel sick to my effing stomach being on Twitter is going to be unbelievably painful from now on, that I don't know if I can be active on here. I don't have energy for this. Where the game company that actually made the game kind of reacted with, who are you? Because he made the music and they paid him, and like that is contract over. He's not the director of the game. He's not like the main writer of the game. He's not normally the kind of person that could really use the statement of like my baby, my game, my creation, my project. He contributed a tiny portion to it, but it's not really his whole thing. So there's a bit of wrong there. It was also openly like tagging people and taking pictures of people's YouTube channels, which normally one thing that I've learned is that if you are mentioning names or if you're taking pictures of videos, you're kind of asking for trouble, because even if you don't tag the person or preemptively block the person, it kind of counts as like directing your attention directly to it and yelling at the thing that that you're expressing distaste for, which honestly comes off as a bit attention seeking and does actively invite the other side to make a commentary on what you're saying. If you're smart, you normally completely ignore these kind of callouts. I've had some people like make videos out of my videos that I either left them a private comment or I completely ignored, because it was smaller channels making fairly negative content with repeated invite to debate me. What they normally get out of this is they get a popularity boost if, you take the hook. Normally, if you see any kind of two media personalities going at it, they will do it for common gain, as in one person sees gain in attacking another person, and the person sees gain in retaliating towards that person. If that is missing, as in the account that's effectively going, debate me, bro, hit me, bro, if they're that much smaller than you, it pays to ignore more than it pays to reply. Honestly, kind of, this person was being very attention-seeking. But they might be unaware of the internet etiquette. That always comes in mind for me. Like, it takes you to be online on social media for a while to learn how social media works, how calling people out works, how taking pictures of videos works, and all of that. So maybe he didn't know. Because if he did know, he wanted popularity, and that's what it was. And it probably really bit him back in the ass, because the company was like, what the heck are you doing? And made a statement back that they don't associate themselves with the statement of a person that made music for the game, and that it isn't really, their game. So, yeah, that was a controversy. And I found a smaller controversy, which nobody would have seen really. It is a developer of indie title. I don't remember which one. I feel really bad. Okay, Soulash game. So Soulash and Soulash 2, which to me looked a bit like, Dwarf Fortress adventure mode, but the whole thing there was that their second game has slightly genetic mechanics, where you play a character as if it's a roguelike, and they make a baby, and they pass on their stats, and to their bebe, and there's some continuation there, so you can, continue growing your hero even if you lose your hero, and it tends to make happy people when such, mechanics are present, when you get some sort of continuation in your roguelikes, which just makes you feel like you have achieved something, or allows you to plan towards something. Like, hey, my first hero is not strong, but 5 generations later, you're gonna see what kind of stats that child is gonna be inheriting. They were asked to put in gay relationships into the game, and their Steam response was a bit more measured. They effectively responded with, well, this is not The Sims. The mechanics for, producing a bebe here serve a very specific purpose of just passing down your stats to the next character that you're gonna play. This is not like a romance thing. This is not like a dating sim thing. And this isn't really a life sim thing. So queer relationships wouldn't necessarily fit into that, because you need a man and a woman to make a bebe. Now, mind you, that is personal choice. It's biologically accurate, and it is historically accurate if you want to be like that, but you can also just make a fantasy situation where it doesn't really matter who's making the bebe. The bebe can come out no matter it's 2 men or 2 women. I saw some games taking that approach, so that response was reasonable. The request was still kind of reasonable. Both were probably coming from a good place. And then they had a bit of a hissy fit on Twitter, which is the popular place to throw a hissy fit, which is, my grandparents survived the Nazis. My parents endured communism. I had to live through religious oppression since the age of 10. And now some spoiled brats think I'll bend my knee to the rainbow flag, or else they'll type some words. I already have a flag that I'm proud of. I think that's the flag of Poland. I don't quote me on that. Okay? Wait, Mirta needs to do some intense Googling. Yeah, that looks it. That definitely looks like the flag of Poland. I feel like indie game devs tend to be a lot more aware that they're gonna turn off some of the audience when they make very brash statements, because it is directly their project. They're not working for a corporation, they are the corporation. They're not part of the Senate, they are the Senate. Therefore, you're gonna often see a lot more inflammatory statements from indie game devs. So this game dev knows perfectly well what they're doing, and they're their own CEO, so technically they can do that. And obviously, players can react very badly to it, because it is bad PR. It's not the kind of outburst that you post online if you're a rational person. However, once again, it's their project, their company. They are the person making the thing. If they're aware that they're turning away a player base, and they're okay with that, and there's no company that they need to respond, like, they're perfectly aware of their actions, they're free to take them. But there was like some backlash from that in less covered places, of course, because this is an indie game dev, so the people that would have cared about this would be like a smaller, more insulated community. It's not like a popular mainstream thing. Therefore, the articles that would have been written about this would be in like some people's blogs that wouldn't like be receiving actual like news attention. While some other things sometimes do actually get covered on like places that post real news as well. So you will like have your regular throwaway articles of 15 things that you should know about X. You wouldn't have your politics, and then you will have like a bit of whatever majiggy gaming this is. And that's how some news sites are structured these days. So that was my opinion on the outrages this year. I think I got them all. Might have missed some. The takeaways were right at the front of the video before we actually like dived deeper into every single statement. Pretty much made that caused the internet to, well, go up in flames. I don't know how we're gonna handle social media going forward. I don't know how we're gonna handle the status of game developers or people expressing their opinions online in general. Once again, I am a YouTube channel. That happens to YouTubers as well, where if you get big enough, like a big enough personality on YouTube or Twitch, you're held very accountable for everything that you say, and just doing like this little thing of going, I don't like that product, can be seen as driving hate, or going, I like that product, can be seen as shilling for a company. The internet is a very sensitive place, and to find how to best navigate it, it's an art on its own. These people obviously feel like they're regular, everyday people, and they don't really get PR training. And for some people, they're their own CEOs. Well, they kind of can't really get PR training. They can do whatever they want, and whatever the outcome is for that, it is. For people that are working for companies, it's a bit more of a tricky situation where effectively you are just an employee number 105, but you are treated like you are the main attraction in the concert. So, there's sides to it. Anyway, what is your opinion on this whole conversation, on this whole topic, and on all of this very ragey thing? What do you feel that we should be doing as a society? What do you feel should be the right etiquette when it comes to conversations online? And what's the right approach here? Because honestly, I don't have an answer. Somebody else might. We might end up coming to a consensus. The consensus might spread, and it becomes adapted as this new unspoken social etiquette of the internet. You never know. Things like that happen. But yeah, if you have any opinions, please express it in the comment section down below. It really helps the algorithm, and also I get to feel a lot less lonely and like I'm just sitting here talking to a camera. That's never quite a nice feeling. Like you wanna have a bit of a conversation. You wanna have engagement. You don't wanna have people just like leave a like or dislike and just fuck off, which is how a lot of the internet media operates these days. Like a lot of YouTube places no longer have comments all that much, and honestly, it's weird for me as an old YouTuber, it's weird for me as a creator, and it's weird for me as a person that watches videos. I like scrolling through the comment section and seeing a lot of different opinions in there, so don't be shy, put down yours. If you like what you see here, and you like more than just this video, once again, this channel is weird. I do occult stuff, I do video gaming stuff, I cover a lot of dark video games because hello. I sometimes talk about topics that are slightly out of left field. Like I am planning to make a video about a person making a life simulator game, and at this point I'm like, it's kind of not on theme for my channel, but I kind of wanna. So shop around. If there's more things than just this that you like, then consider subscribing. If I can surpass 10,000 subscribers this year, that would be absolutely amazing. I think that is entirely possible. I earned like 1,000 subscribers last year, and this channel was here for like 14 years. So for a while it was going nowhere, and this year it was actually going somewhere. So I'm like, big round number, let's go. It looks so pretty. So I would love for you to press that button. And thank you so much for the people that support me on an extraordinary level, which is they also give me $3 on Patreon. That is a rare breed of people. I'm very thankful to you. I tend to reinvest that money back into getting video games, which, allows me to have more content to do and more things to explore. So without you, I couldn't be doing that. I'm very glad that you exist. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me rant about this fairly random topic. And toodaloo for now.